Okay. So, in today's class, we are discussing the important questions that is based on the chapter How do organisms reproduce? This chapter that is from the biology section. I hope you have studied the main important topics of this chapter. So, just I want to recall what we studied in this chapter. Okay. So, in this chapter, first we studied about the asexual reproduction, right? Types of the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. So main type of the asexual reproduction, that is budding, then fragmentation we have studied, fragmentation, then vegetative propagation, vegetative propagation also we have studied, then spore formation. So this is also type of the asexual reproduction, then regeneration and fission. So these all are the type of the asexual reproduction that we studied in the first topic in this chapter, right? So after that we have studied the sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction and human reproduction? How the reproduction takes place in plants? How sexual reproduction, not a sexual reproduction, how sexual reproduction takes place in plants, and how sexual reproduction takes place in human beings. So in plants, flower is the reproductive organ, right? Flower is the reproductive organ, and which contain the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ, and where the reproduction takes place. So in human beings, so we can observe the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. So that we studied in this chapter. So after that, reproductive health. So these all are the main important topics so that we have studied in the how do organisms reproduce in this chapter. Okay. So just recall the all the topics. So in the next page we are going to start the questions. Okay, so first we are discussing the multiple choice questions, after that 1 mark question, after that short answer question like 2 to 3 marks question, and long answer question. So like this we are discussing the questions. Okay, so first, I would like to give importance for the previously asked question. Okay, so I have referred many previous year question paper, and first preference I will give for the previous year question paper questions. Okay, so after that some important questions we will discuss in this class. So I hope all are ready with the notebook and the pen. Okay, please note down the important points. So what I will explain in the while explaining the answer. Okay. So I hope all are ready. First question is, asexual reproduction takes place through budding in option A amoeba, option B yeast, option C plasmodium, option D leishmania. Yes, asexual reproduction takes place through budding. So here, budding is the process where the small outgrowth is formed. So small outgrowth like this, so that will form on the main body, and after that this outgrowth that will detach from the main body after growing, and this bud will grow into a new organism. So it will take place in amoeba, yeast, plasmodium, leishmania. Yes, what is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? In amoeba we can observe the asexual reproduction, that is by the fission, right? Binary fission especially. In the plasmodium, we can observe multiple fission, right? Plasmodium, so that will perform the multiple fission. And leishmania, so that is also example for the, it is a type, it will perform the type of the reproduction, so that is by the fission, especially binary fission. Binary fission, right? and remaining, so option B, yeast. So in yeast and hydra, so they will perform the asexual reproduction, that is called as a budding. Okay, so option B is the correct answer. I hope you got the answer for this question. Question number 2. Which of the following is not a part of the female reproductive system in human beings? Ovary, uterus, vas deferens, fallopian tube. So here, which is not a part of the female reproductive system. Ovary is the part of the female reproductive system. Then uterus, yes, uterus is also a part of the female reproductive system. Vas deferens, what it is? Is it a part of female reproductive system? Is it a part of female reproductive system? No, it is a part of the male reproductive system, right? So it is a part of the male reproductive system. And fallopian tube, yes, it is also part of the female reproductive system. Then what is the correct answer for this question? Here, vas deferens. It is a part of the male reproductive system. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Note down the question. Next question. The anther contains sepals, ovules, pistil, pollen grain. Anther, so anther is the, so that is the male reproductive system, right? So this is called as the anther and this is the filament. So this part is called as a anthers and filament, right? So here, these anthers, what they contain? Sepals. No, sepals, they are the green color structure, so that protect the flower. So, like this. So these are the structures. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ flower ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, okay, just a minute. So just roughly I will draw it. Okay. So in a flower, so just imagine this is the green color structure. So that is called as a sepal. And ovules, they are present inside the ovary. This bulge structure, so that is called as a ovary. Inside the ovary, ovules will be there. And pistil. So what is pistil? So this stigma, style and ovary together it is called as a pistil. And here anthers, so that is the male reproductive system. So that does not contain ovules or pistil. So it contains the pollen grains. So option D is the correct answer. Here the anther, they contain option D, pollen grains. Okay. So any doubts? ಏನಾದ್ರೂ doubt ಇದೆಯಾ? Okay. So let us move to the next question. Read this question properly. Biological process that has been shown in the diagram. So just observe the diagram and read the options properly. So choose the correct answer. So option A, production of progenies by fragmentation method. Option B, production of progenies by multiple fission method. Option C, regeneration of tissues by development in specialized cells. Asexual reproduction by vegetative propagation. So what type of the reproduction it is? What type of the asexual reproduction it is? So here production of the progenies by fragmentation method. So fragmentation method commonly we can observe in the Spirogyra, right? So Spirogyra, so that will get fragment. Each fragment will develop into a new organism. And the production of progeny is multiple fission method. So multiple fission method, so that we observe in the plasmodium. So plasmodium, so this is not a diagram of the multiple fission. So option A and B both are wrong. And asexual reproduction by vegetative propagation. See the option D, it is not a type of the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation commonly we observe in the plants, right? So the plants, they will propagate through the stem, leaves and their roots, so that is called as a vegetative propagation. So here option C, regeneration of tissues by development in a specialized cells. So this is the uh, method of asexual reproduction, that is by the regeneration. Okay, next question. In humans, the testes are located outside the lower abdomen in the scrotum because, so testes, they are located inside the pouch-like structure. We can call it as a pouch-like structure. So option A, so to protect testes from mechanical shocks, to increase the production of sperms, to maintain the secretion of testosterone hormone, to maintain the temperature that is required for the sperm production. Why the testes are located inside the scrotum? Here to protect the testes from the mechanical shocks? No. This scrotum, that is not providing the, that is not protect the testes from the mechanical shocks. Then increase the production of the sperms? No, not to increase the production of the sperms. To maintain the secretion of the testosterone hormone. To maintain the secretion of the testosterone hormone? No, that is also not correct answer. So here what we can say, to maintain the temperature required for the sperm production. Actually, inside the scrotum, inside the scrotum pouch like structure, so there is a less temperature compared to our other body parts. Okay, so there is a less temperature than our body temperature, around 2.5 to 3 degrees Celsius is less compared to our body. So this lower temperature is required for the production of the sperms. Only in that temperature only the testes, they are able to produce the sperms. So what is the correct answer? Option D is the correct answer. Note down the questions. Note down the questions. Next question. Part of a flower, the plant that develops into fruit is. So which part of the flower that will develop into fruit? In a flower, just I will draw rough diagram. Okay. Rough diagram ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Here. So these are the petals. So just imagine these are the petals. Okay. So here the part of the flower in a plant that develops into a fruit. Which part of the flower that will develop into a fruit? Petals. So that will fall off after the pollination. Okay. Then stigma. Stigma, that is the receptive part. So that receives the pollen grains. Ovary, style. Here stigma, style and these sepals, petals, they will fall off after the pollination. But this ovary will develop into a fruit. Ovary will develop into a fruit. Ovules, which are present inside the ovary, ovules will develop into seeds. Okay. So option C is the correct answer. Next question. In humans, sexually transmitted viral infection is. Read the question properly. Sexually transmitted viral infection. Okay. AIDS, syphilis, tuberculosis, gonorrhea. Here, AIDS, so that is transmitted sexually. Yes. And syphilis, so that will also transfer sexually. And gonorrhea, that will also sexually transmitted disease, but tuberculosis is not a sexually transmitted disease. Okay. And here, syphilis, here first option is correct. First thing is correct for these three options. AIDS, that is also sexual transmitted disease. Syphilis and gonorrhea, that is also a, both are the sexually transmitted disease. But here, viral infection. So viral infection, that is AIDS. AIDS, sexually transmitted viral disease. Okay. So this, which virus caused the AIDS? That is the HIV virus. So remaining syphilis and gonorrhea, they are the bacterial diseases. Okay. So they are not the viral infection. So you have to concentrate on this part, which is the viral infection, which is the bacterial infection. So that you should know. You know that all these three options are the sexually transmitted disease, but that is viral infection or bacterial infection, that you should know. Okay. Note down the answer. Option A. Next question. Part of the flower that will develop into fruit and part of the seed that develops into root respectively. Okay. So read the question properly. Part of the flower that develops into fruit. Yes. Here the part of the flower that will develop into fruit, that is ovary. So we can say option A. So it may be a correct answer, and option C. So we can see ovary. Here also option D, ovary. But here, what is there? The seed, part of the seed that will develops into root. Which part of the seed that will develop into root? Can anybody say the answer? That is plumule or radicle, which is the correct answer. So here, see the option D here, ovule. Ovule will not develop into a, ovule will develop into seed. So here they asked part of the seed. So option D is the wrong answer because ovule is not a correct answer. Right. Then option A and C. So plumule and radicle. Here in a seed, plumule will develop into, this plumule will develop into which part of the plant? That is, yes, radicle will develop into root, plumule will develop into shoots of the plant, shoot of the plant, right? So here what we can say, which is the correct answer? Option C is the correct answer, ovary and radicle. Next question. The correct sequence found in the process of sexual reproduction in flower is. So you should write the correct sequence. Okay. Read the option. Option A, pollination, fertilization, seed, embryo. Option B, seed, embryo, fertilization, pollination. Option C, embryo, seed, pollination, fertilization. Option D, pollination, fertilization, embryo and seed. So you should write it in a particular sequence, right? Which is the first step in the sexual reproduction of the flower? That is the pollination. You can see the pollination option in the option A and option D, right? So students, please concentrate because these all questions, they were asked in the previous year question paper. Okay. Here, pollination in option A and option D, we can see the pollination is the first step. So after the pollination, what happens? So fertilization takes place where the fusion of the male and female gametes takes place. That is the option second step of the this sexual reproduction in the flower. So in the option A and option D, we can see the fertilization. After the fertilization, so what happens? Embryo will develop. So that zygote that will develop into embryo. Seed will not develop into embryo. Embryo will develop into seed. Okay. So option D is the correct answer. Next question. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of special part called here fallopian tube, ovary, uterus, placenta. In the fallopian tube, so there is a fertilization takes place. In the ovary that releases the ovum, that is the female gamete, right? So in the uterus, implantation takes place, but this is the specialized structure, so that will provide the nutrition and some that will also helpful for the removal of the waste products. So that structure is called as a placenta. So option D, placenta is the correct answer. While writing the while selecting the answer, which one is the correct one? So you should know why other three options are not correct. Okay. So if it is possible, uh, learn this technique. Okay. Because why fallopian tube is not a correct answer? Why ovary is not a correct answer? Why uterus? So like this, you should know the answer. Next question. Common passage for both sperms and urine in human male reproductive system. The common passage for both sperms and urine. Both are, so they are passing in the same tract. Okay, sperms and urine in a human male reproductive system, that is urethra, ureter, vas deferens, urinary bladder. Here vas deferens, so that is a duct that will carry the sperms to the penis, right? Urinary bladder, so that store the urine. Ureter, that carry the urine to the urinary bladder. But what is the correct answer here? Urethra. Okay. So this urethra, that is a common passage for both sperms and urine in human male reproductive system. So here the male reproductive system in human, that is called as a urinogenital system. Urinogenital system that you will learn in your higher class. So here urinogenital system means both sperms and urine. Okay. So that will pass in the same passage. So that is the urethra. Okay. Question number 10. The type of reproduction found in Spirogyra. What type of the reproduction found in Spirogyra? That is the type of the asexual reproduction, right? Budding, fragmentation, vegetative reproduction, spore formation. Yes, what is the correct answer? Budding, so that you observe in the yeast and hydra. Commonly, we can observe the budding process in yeast and hydra, right? And fragmentation, vegetative propagation, so that we observe in the plants, like vegetative parts of the plants that is used for the reproduction. For example, stem and roots and leaves, commonly that we observe in the plants. And spore formation where you will observe, so that you can observe in the bread mold, right? So that is in the fungi. So here Spirogyra, Spirogyra, so that will reproduce through the fragmentation process. So that is a type of the asexual reproduction. Yes, option B is the correct answer. Next question. Reproduction is essential for the living organisms in order to option A, keep the individual organism alive. Option B, fulfill their energy requirement. Option C, maintain the growth. Option D, continue the species generation after the generation. So here, why reproduction is essential? So that is the basic question, right? So why all the organisms, they should reproduce? They will reproduce, right? So what is the reason for this? Keep the individual organism alive? No. Without reproduction also, the individual organism can be alive. Fulfill their energy requirement? No. This reproduction is not able to fulfill their energy requirement. And option C, maintain the growth. Reproduction is not helpful for their growth. So option D is the correct answer. Continue the species generation after the generation. Okay. So this is the correct answer. Yes, next question. 12th question. In the below figure, part A, B and C are sequentially. So what is part A? Just observe the diagram. What is part A? What is part B? And what is part C? Here, cotyledon, plumule, radical. Option A. Option B is plumule, radical and cotyledon. Option C, plumule, cotyledon and radical. Option D, radical, cotyledon and plumule. Here, yes, option A. So this is the part of the seed that will develop into shoot. Option A, that is called as a plumule. You know the plumule. Option B, these both are, so they are cotyledons. So it is having the two cotyledon. So it is a dicotyledonous seed. So option B is the cotyledon. And option to the part C, it is the radical, right? This part will develop into root. So which one is the correct answer? Can you find out the answer? So plumule, cotyledon and radical. Option C is the correct answer. Is that clear? Next question, 13th question. Which of the following disease is transmitted sexually? Which of the following is sexually transmitted disease? Kala azar, jaundice, cholera, syphilis. Which one is the sexually transmitted disease? Kala azar, that is caused by the leishmania, but it is not a sexually transmitted disease. And jaundice, that is also not sexually transmitted disease. And cholera, so it is also not a sexually transmitted disease. So what we can say, option D is the sexually transmitted disease. Syphilis is one of the sexually transmitted disease. Okay. Option D is the correct answer. Next question. Which of which among the following is not the function of the testes? during the puberty, at the puberty. First one, formation of the germ cells, secretion of the testosterone, development of placenta, and secretion of estrogen. Here, which is not a function of the testis. They ask, read the question properly, which is not the function of the testis. Formation of germ cells, secretion of testosterone, yes, it is the function of the testes. Development of the placenta, no, it is not a function of the testes. Right, placenta is the structure that will provide the nutrition for the growing embryo. So option 3, it is not a correct answer. Secretion of estrogen, no, estrogen is not a correct answer. Secretion of the estrogen. So here option A 1 and 2, option B 2 and 3. No, 2 and 3 is not a correct answer. 3 and 4, it is not a correct answer. 1 and 4. 1 and 4 is also not correct answer. So we can go with the option A 1 and 2. Formation of the germ cells and secretion of the testosterone is the correct answer. Inside the testes, they form the germ cells, secretion of the testosterone. So that is also function of the testes. So option 1 and 2 is the correct answer. Write down the question. Okay, I will give 1 minute to write this question. Okay, I'll move to the next question. 15th question. Which of the following is a contraceptive? Which of the following is the contraceptive? First, you should know what is contraceptive. Contraceptive, so that is used for the prevention of the pregnancy, right? Copper T, condom, diaphragm, all of these. Which of the following is a contraceptive? Yes, copper T, that is used for the prevention, that is used as a contraceptive. Condom is also used as a contraceptive, and it is also used as a contraceptive. Both A, B, C are used as a contraceptive, that you know, right? So option D is the correct answer. All of these are the contraceptives. So they are used to prevent the pregnancy. You have studied about the copper T, what is copper T, how it is able to prevent the pregnancy, and condom and diaphragm. So how they are able to prevent the pregnancy, that you already studied. I hope you have studied in your class. Next question. Which among the following disease is not a sexually transmitted? Which is not a sexually transmitted disease? Syphilis, hepatitis, HIV/AIDS, gonorrhea. Yes, syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease. HIV/AIDS also sexually transmitted disease, and gonorrhea, that is also sexually transmitted disease. So here what we can say, option B, hepatitis, which is not a sexually transmitted disease. Next question. Which of the following options correctly shows the path that sperms take when they are released from the male reproductive system? Read the question properly. Which of the following options correctly shows the path that sperms when they are released from the male reproductive system? Yes, they are released from the testes. So that is the first where the production of the sperms takes place. Testes. So we can see the testes in all the options. And they move through the duct. It is called as a vas deferens. So we can observe the vas deferens. Next, they will move through the vas deferens. That is option B and D, we can observe the was difference option. So option A, that is wrong one. Option C is also wrong. And B and D. Then ureter and penis. Urethra, then penis. Here, ureter, so that is not a part of the male reproductive system. So, we'll nodi kidneys. Okay, just imagine. So, these are the kidneys. So, this is the ureter. This structure, just roughly I'm drawing this. So, here, this structure, this represents the ureter. Okay, which carries the urine to the urethra. Sorry, urinary bladder, not urethra, urinary bladder. Here, this part. Next, this ureter, that is not a part of the male reproductive system. So, we can go with the option D. Testes, vas deferens, urethra, penis. Okay. Option D is the correct answer. So, the sperms, they are produced in the testes. Then they will move inside the vas deferens. Then, after that, they reach the urethra. So, which is present inside the penis. So, option D is the correct answer. Note down the options. Yes. Next question. Which event will likely occur in ovaries of females after attaining the puberty? So, in females, which event will occur in the ovaries of females after attaining the puberty? Fertilization, synthesis of eggs, production of eggs, growth and development of the embryo. So, after attaining the puberty, so they produce the eggs, right? So the ovaries, inside the ovaries, fertilization will not take place. Inside the ovary, there is no fertilization, and growth and development of the embryo will also not take place inside the ovary. So they are asking inside the ovaries, right? So here option C, production of the eggs, so that occur in the ovaries. There is no synthesis of the eggs. See the difference? There is no synthesis of eggs. There is a production of eggs takes place. That is the option C. Okay. So till now we have discussed the some multiple choice question. So let us start the 1 mark question. Okay, 1 mark, 2 mark, like that. We will continue in this session. So here, first question. So this is the 1 mark question. Note down the question. Write 2 examples for the organisms that reproduce by binary fission. Yes, you know the answer. Already we have discussed this. Write the 2 examples for the organisms that reproduce by the binary fission. So here, binary fission, so that we can observe in the amoeba, amoeba and leishmania. Amoeba and leishmania, right? So these 2 organisms, or you can say bacteria. Bacteria also perform the binary fission. So again, there is one more type that is called as a multiple fission. Multiple fission that we observe in the plasmodium. You should know what is binary fission and what is multiple fission and examples for that. So that all things you should know. Okay, here they asked only write the examples. So that is the amoeba and leishmania. Next question. In males, testes are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum. Why? Why they are located in the scrotum? Already this question we have discussed in the multiple choice question, right? Again, here this question is asked in the 1 mark question. So what is the answer for this question? Testes are located in the scrotum because sperm formation requires the lower temperature than our body temperature. So that scrotum that will provide the lower temperature. So that will be helpful for the formation of the sperms. So for this reason, the testes are located inside the pouch-like structure that is called as a scrotum. Okay. Yes. Write this answer. So this is also 1 mark question. Next question. Name any two asexual mode of reproduction. So in this chapter, we have studied many different types of the asexual mode of reproduction, right? So here, any two asexual mode of reproduction, that may be budding. Budding is a type of the asexual reproduction. Then fragmentation. Fragmentation, that is also type of the asexual reproduction. Again, you can observe the regeneration, then spore formation. So these all are the mode of the asexual reproduction. Any two they asked, so you can write any two of that. I hope you are getting the um, answers. Next question. Name the organism which reproduce by budding process. So again, the question is repeated. In the multiple choice question also, we have studied this one. So in that, we got the four options for that question. But here, you should write the answer directly. Name the organism which reproduce by budding process. That is yeast budding that we can observe in the yeast and the hydra. Mainly in these organisms, yeast and hydra. Next question. What is asexual reproduction? So this is also a 1 mark question. What is asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction where there is a single parent is involved to produce the new organisms. Single parent. Single parent is involved. Okay. Write the definition properly. It is a type of the reproduction where the single parent is involved to produce the new organisms. Write the definition properly. Single parent is involved to produce the new organisms. So that is called as a asexual reproduction. In the sexual mode of reproduction, so that is a biparental. Two parents are involved to produce the new organisms. But in the asexual reproduction, single parent is involved. Okay, that is a asexual reproduction. Next question. Name the plant which propagate through its leaves. So leaves are used for the propagation to produce the new plants. Okay. So here you know that in some plants stems are used. In some plants roots are used for the propagation. In some plants they propagate through the seeds. But here leaves are used for the propagation. So that is bryophyllum leaf. So in the bryophyllum plant, the leaves are used for the vegetative propagation. Okay. So that is also 1 mark question. Next question. Name any two unisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers means, what do you mean by unisexual flowers? Unisexual flowers means the flower contain either male reproductive structure or female reproductive structure. So they are called as a unisexual flowers. But in some flowers, what we can observe, both male and female reproductive structure. So they are called as a bisexual flowers. But in unisexual flowers, we can observe either male reproductive system or female reproductive structures. Male reproductive structure or female reproductive structure. So they are called as a unisexual flowers. Name any two unisexual flowers. So that is also asked for the 1 mark question. In papaya and watermelon, we can observe the unisexual flowers in papaya and watermelon. Next one. Give an example for bisexual flower. Bisexual flower, just I explained, which contain both male and female reproductive structure. Male reproductive structure will be also there and female reproductive structure also will be there. So for example, male reproductive structure, that is anthers. From the anthers, pollen grains are produced, and female reproductive structure like pistil is present. So they are called as a bisexual flowers. So they example, hibiscus and mustard. In the hibiscus and mustard, we can observe both male and female reproductive structures. Next question. What is the function of the prostate gland and the seminal vesicle? Here, when the sperms, they are moving in through the ducts, vas deferens, they will receive the some secretion from the prostate gland and the seminal vesicle. So they secrete some fluids. These prostate gland and the seminal vesicles, they add some secretion for the sperms. So these secretions, so that will helpful for the, that is helping for the sperms, which makes the sperms their transport easier, which makes the sperm transport easier. And this fluid also provides the nutrition. That fluids, they are providing the nutrition for the sperms, and that will also helpful for the uh, transportation easier. So like that you should write the answer. So that is a 1 mark question, very important question. What is the function of the prostate gland and the seminal vesicles? Write down the answer. Next question. What is menstrual cycle? So this is the menstruation cycle, so that we observe in the females. So how it happens? In female body, blood and mucus, blood and mucus flows through every month, flows out every month through the vagina, which is termed as a menstruation. So in a female body, this monthly this process will take place. So it is called as a menstrual cycle or menstruation. So this question may be asked for the as a 1 mark question or as a 2 mark question. Okay, how menstruation cycle occur? So that is also one question. And what is menstrual cycle? That is also one question. So this may be asked for the asked as a 1 mark question. Next question. So till here we have discussed the 1 mark question. Okay. So already we have completed the, we have discussed some MCQ question, multiple choice question and 1 mark question. Let us discuss the short answer question. Okay. It may be 2 mark, 3 mark question. First question is, draw a label diagram of the longitudinal section of the flower. So this diagram will be asked for the 2-mark question or as a 3-mark question. You should write the neat label diagram of the flower like this. Okay. You should label the parts like anther, filament and petal, sepal. So these all parts you should label. Sometimes they will ask to label the particular part. For example, label the anther or label the stigma or pistil. Like this, any part of the flower they will give, but practice the diagram and practice and label all the labelings in the flower. Okay, so this is very important diagram in this chapter. Next question. What are the functions performed by the testes in human beings? What is the function? What are the functions of the testes? You know that testes, they produce the sperms, right? The male gamete sperms are produced, the gonads in the testes. Second thing is, testes also produce the hormone that is called as a testosterone. That is also function of the testes. They produce the hormone that is called as a testosterone, which is responsible for the secondary sexual characters developing at the puberty in the males. So some characters will develop in the males during the puberty, like changing the voice or growth of the hairs on the face. So these all are the some changes that occur during the puberty, so in males especially. So these all changes that occur by the testosterone hormone, and from where it is released, so it is released by the testes. Testosterone hormone that is released by the testes. Okay, so these are the functions of the testes. Note down the answer. Next question. Reaching to sexual maturation is essential event with respect to mammals like humans. Substantiate this sentence. Reaching to sexual maturation in human beings, mammals like human beings, reaching the sexual maturation is one of the very important event. Why it is a very important event? Because after the sexual maturation, after the sexual maturation, they are able to reproduce. So before the sexual maturation, they are unable to reproduce. So for this reason, this reaching the sexual maturation is very essential event. Okay. So humans, in mainly in humans, you know that in humans, after this reaching the sexual maturation, in females also, in males also, they will reach the sexual maturation. So after that, they are able to reproduce. They produce the in male gamete and the female gamete. So it is one of the very important step in the very important event in the reproduction. Next question. What is pollination? What are the changes that occur in the flower after pollination? You know that what is pollination? Write the definition of the pollination. There is a two types of the pollination, right? Self-pollination and the cross-pollination. And what happens after the pollination? So what are the changes that occur in the flower after the pollination? This question may be asked for the 2-mark question or 3-mark question here. The transfer of pollens from the stamen to the stigma is called as a pollination. Transfer of pollens stamen to the stigma is called as a pollination. And what are the changes that occur in the flower after the fertilization or after the pollination? Ovule develops a tough coat and becomes a seed. Ovule develops into a seed, and ovary grows rapidly and ripens to form the fruit. Ovary will develop into a fruit, And petal, sepal, stamen, style, stigma. So they will strive off. They will fall off. And seed contains the embryo. Inside the seed, there is an embryo. Means that is a future plant that will develop into a new plant. And during the germination, so here, when the suitable condition is there, so that seed will germinate and develops into a new plant. Okay, so these are the changes that occur after the pollination. Note down the answer. Name the reproductive parts of the flower and explain its function. Here in the flower, we can observe the two reproductive parts, that is stamen and the pistil. Stamen, that is the male reproductive part, formed of anther and filament, and it produces the yellow colored sticky pollen grains. It produces the male germ cells. And pistil, that is the female reproductive part. It has three parts. Pistil that contain the stigma, style and ovary. The stigma is the terminal part of the pistil. Style is the middle elongated part, and ovary is the solemn bottom part. It contains the ovules. So inside the ovule you can observe the egg cell. So in flower we can observe four important whorls, that is sepals, petals, stamen and pistil. Here stamen and pistil, they are the reproductive structure. So how the stamens, they are helping for the reproduction, what they are producing, they are producing the male gamete. And pistil, so that is a female reproductive part. Then again it is divided into three parts: stigma, style and ovary. So like this you have to explain this question. The question is like this. Name the reproductive parts of the flower and explain its function. Okay, so this is the question, and for this question you should write the answer like this. Okay, so till now we have discussed the multiple choice question, 1 mark question and 2 mark question. So in the next class we are discussing some long answer questions. Okay, so if you have any doubts you can ask, or you can ask in the next class also. Okay, thank you. We'll meet in the next class. Okay, thank you.